Here we go. Yay! Hey guys.
What's up?
We're here live. I just posted the link to my audiobook. My audiobook went live today. So The Blood Race, for those of you who are familiar with my books, have read my books maybe, this just became an audiobook and it just released today. I'm so excited. I couldn't be more happy with the incredible work that Podium Audio has done. Vikas, Adam, and Christine Lakin did an amazing job narrating this. It's so cinematic. It's such an immersive experience to listen to. Like, that was one of the things that blew me away about it was it's like what would you say? It's like, it's cinematic.
Yeah, very like theatrical.
Yeah, it's really theatrical.
Very immersive.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I started listening to it, I was like, I want to just stop everything and listen to this whole book because it was so good.
Exactly.
And even though I know everything that's gonna happen, but I still want to listen to it.
It's funny because that was one of the things that hit me too, is that even though it's my book and I've read it a ton of times, hearing someone else read it, it's like different.
Because I'm not going to get that.
Right, because you're reading your own book. So Abby's audiobook is coming out soon too. And we're actually talking about that in this coming Monday's podcast episode, which is going to be interesting. We're like, should we share like a little tidbit?
Yeah.
So we're also live over on Abby's Instagram, which is why I keep looking over here. So we're
Instagram squad.
We're simultaneously live, so I'm looking between these two. So this Monday's episode is going to be about our respective audiobook journeys, because our journeys have been different and also the same in different ways. But like Abby is a read by the author audiobook, which is such a unique, different journey. And my book was published by, the audiobook was published by Podium Audio and narrated by really talented voice actors. So the journeys are just very different and interesting. So we talk about what it's like going the route I went versus the route Abby went and the differences in how we did that. So it's really exciting if you're an author and you're wondering, like, how do you even tackle that? Getting an audiobook produced, that this is going to be a good episode for you.
Yeah. It's going to be a really cool episode for anyone who's interested in the audiobook process and what that is like. Because as you guys know, I went like totally DIY with my book. So I did every part of the process myself. And I'm going to be talking more about that in tomorrow's video. So for everybody who's watching on Instagram, that's what tomorrow's video is going to be about, but on my channel. But it was definitely a lot of work to do every part of the process myself, plus engineer myself. And it was a journey. It was an adventure. I learned a ton and I gained experience, which is always a benefit, I think. Even if it's like, this was so much.
Which it was so much work. Like, I was
blown
away by how much work it was for you.
Yeah, it was.
But Abby's very multi-talented and has a musician background. So I feel like you're more
that was helpful.
Technically minded. Like, she can handle all this like audio design stuff.
Yeah, because I already had a little bit of experience in engineering, audio engineering. That is. Yeah. So that's tricky. I can't wait for the movie either, for the person who's saying that. And
I know. I was noticing that too over on Abby's Instagram.
We don't know when it will happen, but it will.
It will happen eventually. Who designed the cover for the audiobook? So the audiobook cover is by the amazing designers at Podium Audio, and I was very pleased, over the moon with the covers for the audiobooks are really amazing. I was really excited about those.
Yeah, they were very cool.
Yeah, they did a really cool job, like taking the different elements with like the birds and the cliffs and stuff.
Have you seen the third one yet?
I have. Yeah, did I not show you?
No.
Yeah.
I saw the first two on Amazon. I'm like, ooh, those look so cool.
I don't know. I don't think the pre-order is up for the third one.
Yeah, I
know the pre-order is up for the second one.
Yeah, so you can go pre-order Worlds Beneath. Go get both of them.
Yeah.
Get all of them.
Yeah.
great way to use your Audible credits if they're piling up. I know mine are.
I know. Seriously.
Is there really a lizard behind me? Somebody said there's a lizard behind me. It's possible. We do have lizards here.
Yeah.
I've had people say things that like, oh, there's something behind you. I don't always fall for it. I am curious though if there's a lizard in your tree, because that's possible.
I'm trying to find the link for the second one real quick for you guys. Feel free to ask questions if you guys want to.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any questions in here popping up. Thank you all so much.
This is the second time that I have gone live without getting this link.
Yeah, I know.
Which is the link's
so annoying because it's like, oh, hold on, I have to go find the link.
There
and
it
it's
is.
just like sitting there.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, hang on.
Waiting.
The other day I went live on Facebook and said the wrong release date for Worlds Beneath 2. I was like, oh, May. It releases May whatever, and it's April. So ignore that. It's releasing next month. Boom.
Very exciting. I can't wait to hear the rest.
Me too.
Put that
Worlds
link out
Beneath.
there.
Yeah, there we go. So you can pre-order Worlds Beneath with that link. And you can, this one's up. This one's live. I just bought this today.
You bought it?
I bought this. I wanted to find my own audiobook, and I did. I bought the Blood Race. So this one's available.
You know, like listen to it when you're out running.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, when's yeah, what are you doing? Listen to my own audiobook. Yep.
Abby, would you record your book yourself again, or would you have someone else do your next book? That's a good question. I can't really say for sure. I'm going to spoil things if I say for sure. But I have some plans for doing more audiobooks. Okay, I'll say it like that. I do have some plans for doing more audiobooks, but I can also foresee having someone else do the majority of my future books because it's just such a lot of work, you know? It's just a lot of work. So.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. I think it also depends on
plus it
what
depends on the
book
story
is like.
Yeah, it depends on the story. I mean, I did
Right.
100 Days of Sunlight because I was it's kind of like my baby.
Yeah,
And
it's your debut.
It's
your
my
debut novel is special.
It's special.
It really is.
It is. And because you guys listen to so many thousands of hours of me talking anyway, you must like the sound of my voice. And I thought it would be kind of cool to do a audiobook where I read it to you because we would never have an opportunity to do that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of a unique experience for everybody all around. And but in the future, no, I'm not a narrator really at heart. I'm a writer.
Oh, no, you're great at narrating. Listening to your audiobooks, it really
I mean, it was
experience.
fun. I enjoyed narrating for sure. I would do it again for sure.
How do you feel about releasing an audiobook, Kate? I feel great. I'm really, really pumped about it. It's so cool to see the whole series being done in audiobook versions. It's really exciting to me to see that and hear these amazing narrators reading my story. I absolutely am over the moon about it. How did I feel when I initially heard the audiobook? I actually filmed a reaction video of me listening to my favorite part of the Blood Race, my favorite chapter of the Blood Race for the first time. And that was really a surreal experience. It was surreal hearing it for the first time and hearing it come to life and these talented voice actors reading the story. It was just like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was listening to a film. So that was very surreal feeling is how I would describe it.
Yeah. That was a cool video that you did.
Yeah, that was really fun. Would I recommend Podium audio to others? Absolutely. Podium has been amazing. You might be familiar with their work if you've read the book The Martian by Andy Weir or seen the film because it became the best-selling sci-fi of all time or something worldwide. Incredible journey. That book was just fabulous and amazing. The journey, as far as I've heard, with how that audiobook was done, and that was done by Podium. So they're great. They're fantastic bunch of creatives, and it's been a real privilege to be able to work with them. how many books did you publish, Kate? So I have this one. This is my debut novel, The Blood Race, followed by Worlds Beneath, followed by Resurgence, the third book, which I don't have. I'm actually just talking about how I don't have a copy of that book, which is insane. Abby's laughing at me.
Because I have like a million copies of this one. Yeah. My one.
Her shelves are like lined with copies of that.
I actually have like a crate of 20 more coming.
I need to order some of my books. I
just want to fill my shelves. It's an obsession at this point.
This is a prequel. This I published after the series was finished. This one is Anomaly, and it follows the main character, and you can actually get this free on my website. So if you haven't read the series, or if you're like, oh, this is kind of interesting, I'd like to, read something she's written, go to my website, kaemmons.com, kaemmons.com, and you can get this free. So it's a really fun book. It kind of delves into the backstory of the main character. And if you know anything about me and Abby from listening to our podcast or following our channels respectively, you know that we love backstory for characters, especially when it adds a lot to the story. And I think that's what this book really does. It was a blast to write, and I would love to share it with you. I was just trying to keep up with these questions here.
I love that prequel.
Yeah, it was really fun to
Very
write.
Good.
I wrote that in like a month.
Wow.
Which was really, really fun.
Usually I don't like prequels, but that one's very good.
Yeah. I know.
Let's see if we have any questions for us both here.
I know. I'm like trying to
just for me because I'm like hijacking your live stream. And
no, it's fine. I love it.
Okay.
What days do I post new videos on my YouTube channel? So what I've been doing lately is a little bit more live streams. I typically post a new podcast goes up every single Monday. So every single Monday, there's a new podcast. And then typically on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, usually Thursday or Friday, but it's anywhere within that 3-day window, really. I'm not super strict about when I post, but it's typically like Thursday or Friday. Every other Thursday or Friday, I've been posting a new video. Sometimes I do it every Thursday or Friday. It really depends on how creative I've been with videos. And also if I'm really busy with writing, I sometimes don't make as many videos. If I'm not currently working on a book, if I'm in between books, I tend to make more videos. So sometimes it's every week, sometimes it's every other week, but Mondays and then usually a Thursday or Friday are the days that I post. What are you both working on at the moment?
Oh gosh, so many things.
Yeah, it's
so many things.
Yeah, I've mainly been editing a new series, a new duology that's going to be coming out. That will also be audiobooks created by Podium.
It's good.
Yeah.
I still want to read the third book. Or whatever, it's not third, I guess.
Yeah.
You changed the number.
Yeah.
I won't say what
it's hard because it's like, the work in progress stage, and then when you get into the final stages, all these things change. Titles change, orders of things change and stuff, and it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
What are you working on?
I'm still working on my Lighthouse book. Literary novel. It's like a literary romance. I've talked about it a lot on my channel.
It's rad, and I've heard all of it. So good.
I've written it for almost a year now, which feels so weird because usually projects like this only take me like 6 to 8 weeks to write.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a pretty fast writer.
I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. On to the next characters, on to the next world. But I feel like I've lived with these characters for so long because it's been like a year of writing them, and I'm like, this is so much. I don't know if I'd ever write another book this long.
Yeah.
Same. Well,
yeah, this is a long
story
book for you.
Yeah. And also it's like it's like contemporary, so there's not much of a plot, not a lot of action going on. So it's extremely character driven.
It's extremely character driven. It's also really wholesome feeling. I like
you.
how it feels like really organic and wholesome. You guys are going to like it when you finally get to read it.
Yes, I'm hoping that I publish it before I before I thought I would. I think I'm going to publish it sooner than I think. So, yeah, we'll see.
What was who did the covers of your books? So different people. These 2 books here plus Resurgence were done by an amazing artist, Stuart Beisch, from, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. He's the amazing artist who did these covers as well as Resurgence from the website, the company Books Covered in the UK. Love them. Fantastic. And this was designed by Abby. Abby's an amazing designer, and she designed this book, which this one was one of the most difficult covers because I really had a very, I wanted it to be very mystic, obviously, and it was hard to explain to a cover designer what exactly was going on here, but Abby understands me really well. Yeah. So it's so helpful.
I know exactly what you need. I'll make you a
Exactly.
concept. And this was just like the concept. It was just going to be the concept art. And then Katie's like, can we just use that? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's perfect.
I had to change a few images to make sure I had the copyrights, but it all turned out good.
It can be difficult sometimes to really give voice to what you have in your head, the concept that you have in your head, to an artist who's trying to understand, like, okay, what is it we're working with here? What is it we're doing? The more concept art you have, the better. Pinterest and places like that will become a close friend in this journey because you can really find a lot of concepts there. And because the more you can provide an artist, the better, because they're trying to just embody what's in your mind. And that can often be quite difficult to get. But
even if you don't know like exactly what you want, but you can just have a bunch of images that sort of like you like the look of. Like, I want something like this. And then you just have a bunch of images. And then the artist can kind of use their own talent and skill to create something unique that still carries over the same vibe, you know. So
can't wait for the Lighthouse book.
Yay! I can't wait either. It's gonna be good.
And Abby designed the cover for 100 Days of Sunlight. Yeah, so again, Abby's really had such an independent journey with this book.
Yeah, and pretty much like done it all myself, which is cool because I want to talk about that on my channel in the future for indie authors out there who want to do it all themselves, and whether that's because of limited budget or just you like doing all this yourself. Right. There are options. It's not like, oh, well, you know, I can't afford to hire a narrator or whatever. You don't necessarily have to. I didn't really know much about narrating at the beginning of last summer, but I learned about it. I learned everything I needed to for building a sound booth and engineering myself and reading and editing the book, and it turned out really good. I'm so excited for you guys to hear it, which for any new people hopping on, I'm posting a video on my channel tomorrow talking about the release date for my audiobook as well as some behind the scenes stuff. In that video, I'm going to share an excerpt from the audiobook, my favorite scene, which is another perk of doing it yourself, is you can like share.
I don't even think I know what your favorite scene.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else knows either, so I'm gonna let it just be revealed in the video. Yeah. I like that. I also have some fun outtakes to share.
Oh yeah, those are fun. I was in stitches the other night listening to those. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those are always fun. So, let's see.
So a few questions over on Abby's Instagram. One which was, how do you get unstuck from writer's block? So I think it's different for everybody, but for me personally, I find that making sure you're nourished yourself first, because you have to think you're pouring out of your cup all the time when you're creating, you're giving, you're pouring yourself out. So you have to make sure you're equally pouring in, you're equally nourishing yourself, mind, body, and spirit. So doing things like making sure you're nourished as far as nutrition goes, making sure you're taking breaks, making sure you're getting moving, nourishing yourself spiritually, spending time outside, doing things that are balancing out your life, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Those are the things that put me in the right headspace to create. I think a lot of times in today's world, we can get into this loop of, hustle, 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 productivity. Not that there's anything wrong with productivity, but we're not machines. We're not made to just like produce, produce, produce. We have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves as unique creators. So we need time and space and nourishment in order to feel happy. Happiness is what leads us to create, is what I personally believe. So I think that happiness and fulfillment has to come first to some extent before you can give to others. So you don't want to be giving out of this place of like a void. Like I feel constantly burnt out. I think that's where a lot of us can get burnout as creatives, is because we're like kind of running on empty all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you talk a lot about that too,
Yeah.
self-care wise.
And that's actually a great segue into a question that popped in here. Do you guys feel guilty for procrastinating? Do you have those days? Yes, we definitely have those days. I think we both have those days, and I think every writer has those days. But it's important to not feel guilty for procrastinating, because like you just said, if you can frame it as this is I'm pouring into my cup, I'm not really so much procrastinating as I am giving myself a rest. Like there's a difference between resting and quitting, first of all, or
yes,
resting and procrastinating. If you genuinely feel tired, it's kind of like, I think we've talked about it before on the podcast, using the analogy of like working out. Like if you genuinely are tired, you'll know, and you're physically tired and you don't want to work out, versus like you're just like, I don't feel like working out, but you actually do have the energy to work out, but you're just being lazy. Then it's not a good thing. You should have self-discipline to go work out. Same with writing. I think if you are genuinely tired creatively, you should take a break.
Yeah.
And that's a much needed break. It's good to rest. But if you just feel like intimidated, like you're intimidating yourself out of writing, or you're talking yourself out of writing for some other reason, then it's probably a good idea to write something, even if it's just a self-indulgent fun thing, to break that mental pattern of intimidating yourself and stopping yourself. Don't stop yourself. Just do it.
Right. Yeah, if it's an intimidation factor, it's better to just push through and get over it.
Yeah.
Even if you're writing something just as a catharsis exercise. I think writing as an exercise is a great thing. It's something that can be overlooked, actually, by a lot of writers who are more focused on, I need to be productive with my writing. Well, it's also important that you practice it. Like we don't show up to do like yoga or workout, or to practice a craft, let's say, that we're trying to get good at, something we're trying to learn. We're not always focused on like getting it done. It's about the practice.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where you gain experience,
Right. So like
I found that even like with talking about audiobooks, with narrating my audiobook, that there were days when I did not want to do it. And it wasn't because I was genuinely tired or couldn't pull it off. It was that I was getting tired of doing it. It's like, oh, this is tedious. This is boring. But as I always say, boredom is a side effect of mastery. And nobody ever achieves mastery without going through this stage of tedious, I don't want to do this. But you do it anyway. And that's what creates a master at something. So that's something that I've encountered in everything I do, from audiobook narration to writing. And even though writing is my dream job, it's boring sometimes.
That's the thing. And I think that's
it's
important.
Tedious.
That doesn't mean like, I've reached a dry place, or, I'm stuck because I feel bored. It's like, no, you're actually on the right path, because of course there's going to be days when, you're bored or you don't feel like doing it. it's part of the path to mastery, like you were just saying. That's so important. And as a martial arts geek, that speaks to me on such a fundamental level because it's the same thing. It's a principle in martial arts that, there's going to be spells where you just don't feel like doing it, where you don't feel like training, where it feels like, this is tedious. And how can we find the grace? How can we find the softness? How can we propel ourselves through these areas where it feels like, okay, what kind of energy am I feeling now? How can I recharge? How can I get excited about this? And what can I learn from what I'm feeling right now? I think it's the same for anything that you are trying to master.
Yeah, I agree. So true.
Looking at these questions. Book signings. Yeah, Abby did a book signing virtually on her YouTube channel.
Virtual book signings are fun because you don't have to you don't have to spend any money.
Yeah, that's true.
Except you do have to get your books. You have to get the books and then sell them, obviously, but it's less preparation. Less preparation work goes into the whole, finding a venue or whatever, bookstore, plus, people do more online shopping these days. Anyway, so I think it's more chill and fun to do a virtual book signing rather than a physical one in a store or something, because more people will come to it. Yeah. And it can be more of a party that way.
Yeah, it can kind of be whatever you want it to be, and you don't have to go through any middleman. I think that it's been interesting to see how many things are becoming virtual, that you never would have expected to be able, I could do that virtually. I feel like more and more things are popping up. I'm not a writer, but I have a story shouting to be written. Is it possible to write it? Yes, 100%. And we talk a lot on the podcast about how some of the most important and poignant stories that have ever been written were not written by writers.
Yeah.
They were written by people who had a story burning within them. And that's the main thing, is to have a story burning within you that needs to be written. And the technicalities of style and things like that, that's secondary to your passion and desire, and why it matters to you is the most important thing about storytelling.
Yup. It sure is. And that's actually a good lead-in for this question I saw go by. Okay, Abby, you always talk about the aha moment for your characters. What was the aha moment for you guys when you wrote your first book? So we'll go on The Blood Race being Katie's first book, even though it wasn't technically, but it was the first book you published.
Right.
And 100 Days of Sunlight was the first book I published. So we're going to go by published. My aha moment and the truth I want to scream from the rooftops with that book is that there's nothing you can't do. And when life knocks you down, get up. And you're not defined by the number of times life knocks you down, but by the number of times you get back up.
Yeah.
That's something that I thought was lacking in, especially the young adult fiction world, is positive, uplifting messages that when you reach the final page of the book, you're like, I want to go climb a mountain. I'm so inspired. And that's what I hope I've been able to sprinkle into the pages of 100 Days of Sunlight. And it's very encouraging to see reviews come in from readers who are really inspired by the book and who walked away with that message and walked away with a different perspective on life and just everything around them. So that was my aha moment. What was the truth that stands out to you about The Blood Race that you really wanted to embody in why it mattered to you?
Why it mattered to me, the truth for me that spoke to me a lot. And I don't really like to assign too much of my own thoughts to the things I write, because I think that reading is such a personal experience. The book really becomes your book when you read it. It's not my book. It's your book when you're reading it. It's your journey. And I want you to have your own experience. And learn from it what you will, take from it what you will. It speaks to everyone differently. But for me, what spoke to me a lot as I was writing it is this idea that we are powerful, more powerful than we realize, that we impact so much more than we realize, and that there is so much more going on, both inside of us and around us. And so that had a lot of meaning for me when I was writing not only The Blood Race, but the entire series. And I feel like that's something that really is a thread that's woven throughout all the books. And an exploration. It's an ongoing exploration. It really is.
Yeah, I love how allegorical the Blood Race books are. And there were so many moments when I was reading even like your first drafts that I would just stop and be like, whoa, that's so deep. That's so cool. Which I've always really admired in writing, because I don't do a ton of allegory, but I am definitely plotting some more allegorical stories at the moment. But that's always really impressed me, is Kate has an uncanny ability to write awesome allegories that really stay with you. So
thanks.
That's one of the best parts of The Blood Race, in my opinion.
Thank you.
So you guys definitely should go and read it.
Yeah,
go listen to the audiobook.
Yeah, go listen to the audiobook.
It's about. Go on Amazon, type in The Blood Race, and it will pop right up. Blood Race audiobook.
I will repost the link.
If you're on Kate's channel, she's posting the link right now.
Whoops. Yeah, I'm going to post the link again because it kind of disappears. Have either of you written a screenplay?
Well, they're not finished.
She's working on some.
But I'm working on several screenplays at the moment, actually. They're all adaptations, so I haven't tried my hand at writing a screenplay from scratch. I am adapting 100 Days of Sunlight into a screenplay, actually, which has been so tricky, because the hardest part of adapting a screenplay, I don't know if it would be the same way for writing a screenplay. Probably depends on how many ideas you have, but adapting a book into a screenplay is so difficult, knowing what to cut out, because you're basically cutting it in half. I mean,
yeah, that must be so tricky.
This book
because isn't it, what's the principle? It's like 1 page equals 1 minute.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much. This is a hardcover, but same thing. It's basically the same page count. So this is almost 300 pages. So it's like, taking that and chopping it in half. This is the movie. So it's like, oh, how do I put everything in there? And of course, a lot of words can be condensed into a montage or something like that. But it's all about getting creative and figuring out how you can condense things and still keep the integrity of the story.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm working on the screenplay, and I hope to watch it someday. Would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm also taking an older story that I wrote for NaNoWriMo a few years ago, and I'm turning it into like a series, I don't know what they call them. Dang it. Like a
mini series?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, but I don't know what the screenplay word would be for it. Like I don't know if it's called a teleplay. I've heard that word.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like
it's
basically a screenplay for a series?
Yes, it's a screenplay for a mini series. It's gonna be, which is, I think, going to be my preferred way to write or to adapt a screenplay, because you can include more.
Yeah, that's always fascinating me.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're huge fans of series.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been following us for any length of time, we talk about BBC series all the time, and we primarily just watch British made things. But there are so many British series that are so, so good, and just have such brilliant writing. Just brilliant writing. And we actually have a podcast episode that talks all about some of our favorite BBC shows and like writing principles you can learn from them. So it's really, really good stuff.
That's fun. Someday maybe I'll release the screenplay also for people to read, because that would probably be cool. That's the cool thing about like being totally indie, is like you can just be like, oh, maybe I'll just let you guys read that. Like I'm going to be sharing an excerpt of my audiobook in my video tomorrow, and I can do that because I own it.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited.
My voice, my recording, my mastered files. I can do what I want with them.
Exactly.
That's always a perk.
Yeah, it is a perk. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. But to wrap it up, guys, you can go get your copy of The Blood Race on audiobook. I just posted the link in the chat. So this is released. This is out. The next book will be releasing next month, and I'll have more details on that to you guys soon. Abby will be releasing a video tomorrow about the release date for her book, 100 Days of Sunlight, in audiobook format, read by the author. So that's going to be really exciting. And it's been a cool journey to see what it's like for us to both be releasing audiobooks at the same time.
Yeah.
We've been able to like chat a lot about it and go back and forth, bounce ideas off each other. And we've both been kind of part of each other's respective journeys, of course. So it's been really fun. Another thing is you should go check out, if you haven't already, the last podcast episode we did, which was yesterday, an exclusive interview. We sat down with Christine Lakin and Vikas Adam, two incredibly talented, award-winning narrators who narrated The Blood Race. So that was anticlimactic. The Blood Race.
I do that so much in my videos. I look at it up. It's like backwards and upside down. Yeah. Smooth.
Yeah. This book. They narrate the book. You'll hear their narration if you listen to it. Christine's also done James Patterson books. Vikas did The Life of Pi. Both phenomenal. And so we sat down with them and talked about like, what's it like to narrate audiobooks? What is that like? Your day-to-day life like? How does that process work? We asked them some really interesting questions. It was an awesome interview. We had a ton of fun with them. You can find that over on my YouTube channel. Will be the latest video in the podcast playlist. So go check that out if you haven't already.
I will try to put the link on my Instagram. I'll try to remember to put the link on my Instagram for you guys.
Yeah, for those of you watching over on Abby's Instagram. But thank you guys for hanging out with us and for celebrating the release of my book. I so appreciate the support and kind comments from you guys. I wouldn't be able to do all of this without you. I so appreciate your supportive words, your kindness, and of course, your readership. It means so much to me, and I'm so glad you could be here to celebrate with me today. I hope you get a chance to go grab your copy, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yes.
Okay.
Go get your copy of the audiobook and listen to it.
And stay tuned for info about Abby's audiobook.
Yes.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Okay, we love you guys. We'll see you soon.